a juggler who's got all these balls up in the air. Some of those balls are personal. They're personal aspects of your life. And some of those balls are professional. And your job is to self-evaluate every day. Which of those balls are fragile? Which ones at that moment in your life are made of glass that you cannot drop because they'll shatter if you do? And which of those balls at that moment in your life are made of rubber and will bounce? Don't drop the fragile ones. And so when I first joined purchasing, my professional balls were the ones that were fragile. My family was great. They were well cared for. My husband's wonderful. I was learning a new space. I was traveling all over the world. And my professional balls were made of glass. And then when my dad got sick, everything changed. And my personal balls became the ones that were made of glass. And we all took turns moving to California with him to take care of him. We were taking him to chemo every week, all of my sisters, taking turns with that. And you know what I realized? I realized the lesson that I had learned when I became a first level leader over the technicians. It comes back to relationships. Because when I was traveling all the time and my professional balls were made of glass and I would drop a personal ball and it would bounce, I had a whole network of people willing to catch it for me on the bounce. I had my mom who's here, my older sister who's here, 2 other sisters, my husband's family. I had those relationships formed that if a personal ball bounced, I knew I had a network of people that were willing to catch it for me when it came back up. And then when my personal balls became the ones that were fragile and my dad was sick and I dropped a professional ball, I had a network of people there that were willing to catch those on the bounce. And that's what it's about. It's not about doing everything yourself. And in fact, I'll give you another lesson I learned about perfection. When we talk about the woman who has it all, who does it all, who never drops a ball, she's amazing, we're doing each other a disservice. Because that's not true, because it's not possible. Nobody does it all without help. Nobody's perfect. Nobody doesn't drop a ball. Nobody. And when we talk about the woman who does as if she exists, we're setting an expectation on each other that that's actually a possibility. And perfection's a myth. Perfection is a myth. And anybody who goes through life expecting that of themselves or of other people, you're doomed to a lifetime of disappointment. We should instead strive for excellence. And excellence is so different. Perfection does not allow you to make a mistake. Excellence says, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to learn from those mistakes. I'm going to teach other people about those mistakes rather than try to hide them so people think I'm perfect. And I'm going to let other people learn from my mistakes. Perfection's never dropping a ball. You know what happens when you never drop a ball? You keep what you're willing to do so confined because there's only so many you can juggle. You're not being everything you can be and growing and expanding. So I learned a lot of lessons when my dad got sick. The other lesson I learned, by the way, is that in that moment of your life, when your professional balls are the ones that are made of glass, the ones you won't drop, that doesn't make you a bad mom. And that doesn't make you a bad wife. That makes you a complete person. And there's no greater gift you can give your family than being a complete person. You just have to find that balance, and you have to be so self-aware that you're able to constantly reevaluate what's important in your life at that moment. So then I moved to be a chief engineer of full-size trucks. And I learned how to drive on an 84 Suburban. So being chief engineer of full-size truck was a pretty big goal, something I didn't even realize I would ever reach. But it was challenging. It was really hard. I had gone through my life up to that point being one of few women. Now you become the lead of the truck organization. You're the only woman. And it was hard. And it wasn't so much that it was hard within GM, but it was really hard externally. And I did a lot of interviews. I did a lot of speaking at industry events. One time I was speaking at an industry event about trailering. So I had heavy-duty pickup trucks at that time. So your 3/4 ton, 1 ton, your big Julies, right? The trucks you see towing the horse trailers, that was what I was the chief engineer for. And this industry organization asked me to come speak, and they invited me to come up on stage as somebody who's gonna give a safety lesson on towing. And I walk up on stage at the same time they flash my name and picture. And true story, a guy in the back of the room, I won't even call him a gentleman, a guy in the back of the room yells out, "But she's a girl." Yeah, honest to God. And I was speechless. I was completely speechless. I didn't know what to say. And my boss happened to be there at the time. And he stood up and he said, "That's right, she's a girl, and I got $20 that says she can out-tow any one of you. Who wants to meet me in the parking lot?" And nobody wanted to meet me in the parking lot. But that was what I experienced a lot in that space. I would go, at one time I went to a meeting with an outside group, and the gentleman that walked in assumed I was there to serve coffee. And he ordered a cup of coffee for me. I got him coffee. I'm happy to bring any of you ladies coffee. There's nothing degrading about bringing somebody a cup of coffee. But then I'm going to sit down next to you, and I'm going to engage in that conversation at the level that I am at and the level that I've earned. It's quite embarrassing for him. I had a reporter interview me once, the self-proclaimed truck guy, a little bit high on himself to give himself that name. And he interviewed me as I was revealing the next generation heavy-duty truck that I had just spent 3 years engineering. And the only thing he wanted to talk to me about was the fact that I was a woman. "GM's got the truck lady," he kept saying. And he kept questioning my capability to be the chief engineer of trucks. Did I have a commercial driver's license? Did I really know how to tow? By the way, my credentials were higher than his from a towing perspective. And finally I said to him, "I'm here to talk about the truck. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask me about the truck?" To which he responded, No, I'll ask the engineers about that." And I said, "Aha, but I am the chief engineer. So I'm happy to answer any questions." "No, thank you. I'll talk to the engineers about that." And this guy was so unaware. He posted it to his YouTube channel. And his own subscribers destroyed him in the comments. How rude he was to me. How condescending he was to me. It was validating for me to know that there are people out there that don't even know you that will stand up for you when they see that happening, and when they see that level of injustice, and when they see you being judged based on something like your gender or your race, your ethnicity. So the truck job was great. The truck job was very, very hard. And I had somebody ask me once, "Do you really like the job despite the fact that it's so hard?" And I said, "No, I really like the job because it's so hard, not despite the fact."